Okay. Hello. Just going to be something I talked about doing a bit earlier. Oh, got that on. And just going to be going over going to be doing some scouting late at night. If you're worried about me being up this late, gonna kind of adjusting my schedule anyway. Actually got somebody in here. Didn't expect that. Yo, what's up? And basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just be scouting some players. I'd be doing this anyway. Like, this is something I'm doing for. You might remember like this video that I do just once a year where I go over the top NCAA prospects. So the top players are entering college soccer. So I just scout some of those players. So figured I'd go live for doing some of that. Seemed like a pretty decent idea. So yeah, if anyone wants to talk, I mean, there was a game that just happened. So bring that up. And yeah, yeah, that was a really long. This takes like a lot of effort. I'll put in a game that I'm going to be watching. Let me see if I don't know how this sounds actually right now. Yeah. Yeah, the one I did before that wasn't that good. The one I did last year though I feel pretty good about. Right now this is the game that I'm going to be watching. Let me see if I can put it in. Oh yo. Oh dude, that's awesome, Ann Arbor FC. Just gonna put this in. It's my first time being live, so not really good at this yet. Thanks. Yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of effort into it, especially like the newer ones since I've kind of like changed what I'm doing. Trying to do a bit more. I've got background music in it now. Somebody for my birthday like gave me like a couple songs to like put in. So I'm trying to do that, trying to edit a bit more. And hoping it's working. So this is a game that I'm gonna be watching and let me put it in, see if the link works. Yeah, well, got an add-on. And I don't really want to say the players that I'm looking at because like I'm just going to be going over this going to be like, "Oh, this guy's like not that good." And there's like these are like young players. There's no reason for me to like go in on anybody. So I'm not going to say any names. I'm just going to say like I'm look like this game I'm looking at an attacker, a midfielder. So we're just gonna be doing that. And yeah, that's the game if you want to watch on. And yeah, I'm just gonna get started. If anybody wants to chat, we can talk about it. So yeah, got another thing in the side there. So 'cause I'm watching this, should actually do something like yeah, make one of these smaller so I can actually see chat. There it is. Sound on. Also don't want to show it because don't want to be showing these. I mean, it's not anything that's copyrighted, but I don't know, might be. Don't want to take that risk. Yeah, thanks for saying that you love the videos again. Like I said, put a lot of effort into doing these, and that's fun to do. This isn't going to be that exciting. I'm just going to be talking while I'm doing some scouting of these players, and um, I don't know. I kind of like doing the college thing because it's a bit of a niche that I don't think anybody really covers in terms of from a national team perspective. So I think it's something fun to look into. Because I mean, we do get a decent amount of players from there. I mean, decent amount were from there from, this most recent tournament, and that wasn't that good, I don't think, but you got the guys like, Mark McKenzie, Matt Turner. Matt Turner, he didn't, do too bad this one. I guess like, I really wasn't watching this with any, like, analytical point of view, these last few games. Just kinda wanted to go away from covering the US, and or covering the senior team, I should say. But yeah, it's still fun to do. Oh yeah, the USL. I saw they're going to have that vote on it. That could be pretty cool because yeah, the USL. It's actually been a pretty decent place for developing talent lately. Josh Winder, like he came through Louisville, and he just like straight up came through Louisville, and that was actually a pretty good play by a guy I'm looking at. But getting more guys opportunities like that, that would be good. In terms of for the senior team, I've heard a lot of players say that just going somewhere where they do play with relegation can be a huge help for them in terms of just taking the game more seriously. And I think it was Chris Richards and DeAndre Yedlin. I think they both have said something to that effect. So I think that helps player wise. And then, like, I don't know, relegation is just kind of fun. Like, I made a whole video talking about Luton Town, and it's just something fun to watch. Yeah. Rumor says it won't pass. I mean, yeah, not too much of a surprise, but I mean, it's a baby step, I guess. It would be fun to see. I mean, I don't actually know too many USL League One teams. I think there's like Charlotte Independence, another North Carolina one. No, is Charlotte Independence just the USL Championship? God, sorry, I'm blanking right now. I think it's. I don't know if that's. Might be thinking of a USL League Two team actually as well. It's not a. I don't think I've tuned into many USL League One games. I think to scout 1 or 2 players, that's about it. Charlotte moved to USL 1 last season. Okay. But, yeah, I'm trying to wait. Let me just look something up real quick because I'm missing something. Oh, I'm thinking of the Charlotte Independence is League One. I was thinking of Charleston Battery, who's that's where Fidel Bajaras, one of the he's a dual national prospect, one of our top U17 players. Well, was one of Mexico's top U17 players. Hey, what's up? Just doing what it says, scouting players and talking. Go over it again. I'm just watching some players because I do oh yeah, the Panama match. Be honest, I wasn't really focusing on the game that much. I mean, it's disappointing to see them lose, but I don't know. It's you can only be so invested in the group of players that you brought to the Gold Cup. So like it's disappointing obviously, but I mean it doesn't really affect anything. Oh god, I got an ad on this. Dude, how why does it have an ad on just this random video uploaded by just some dude? Yeah, missing a lot of really good players. I think Nyman, he's with Real Salt Lake, right? Unless something happened recently. Yeah, USL League One, it's like 8 teams, right? And this is my first time streaming. It's hard to keep up with everybody. We got like barely anybody in here too, but just a lot of players are gearing up for preseason, so we didn't really want to bring as many guys as we could have to the Gold Cup. It's mostly domestic players or guys who I think Matt Turner is somebody who could really use the playing time. He's not going to start at Arsenal anyway, so why not come? Brian Reynolds, he's looking for a move right now. This could be an opportunity for him to sell himself because he's probably not going to stay at Roma. Busio, another guy who would look to sell himself. Like again, I was just kind of watching this as a like more casual. Did Busio have a good tournament? Because I don't know, he had like a one or two good moments from a last game. Oh, geez, somebody scored a really nice free kick in this game I'm watching. I was thinking of, but yeah, yeah, Ferrer definitely has some talent. It's just getting him to translate that to the highest level is going to be the big question. Him really nailing down a position. Okay. It's good to see that a couple people like Busio. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't really I think I said I didn't expect him to make the team. I'm really not sure if he should have, but like he's just got a guy kind of like I feel like I should say this the right way. Like he's just a guy I like. He's a guy I root for, you know. Yeah, fair. I mean, he could be pretty good in Europe. I mean, when you look at Freira's like profile, I mean, he's a guy who plays up top, pretty good technically, not very physical. I mean, that's somebody who you wouldn't really expect to do well in the MLS if you just like take a step back. But he's done a pretty good job, and I think if he finds the right environment, he could be fine. Not sure which league that would be or anything, but like he definitely has good potential right now for playing in Europe. But I think it is more potential, and we look at the striker pool. Balogun is on top, then you got Pepe there as well. Yeah, it's looking good. Busio playing the six. I feel like he has to be like he could do well in that deep lying playmaker role. I feel like, and only because he's from Brescia, you have the compare or not from there, but he's got connections to Brescia. You got the Pirlo comparisons. Yeah, I think you probably would want to. I said Pirlo. You got to pair him with some type of Gattuso like player. Yeah, we don't really have a physical, tough guy who's also good on the ball in that, Gold Cup team, I don't think, especially not since, Morris got injured, I think, so he got sent home. Yeah, the thing about deep lying playmakers, like, guys in that Pirlo role is, like, you have to be a certain amount better than the team around you technically in order to, like, justify being in the team. And when you look at the US, it's like international competition. So if you want to be good enough to get on the field in a role where you're not doing much defensively, you kind of have to be world class. And I don't think we really have anybody who's world class. So it's kind of tough for them in that spot. Oh God, light went out. Let's see. Gotta back up. New lighting is really powerful, but it kind of sucks. Sorry about that. Is that how's this? Let's see. Gonna give it a second. Oh, that's too bright. This is a weird light. I gotta switch it off and on a couple times. It's a bit dark, but I think it's better than being completely just way too bright, especially at night. So guess I'll stick with this. Got to put that on the charger again. Where was get that one back on? Oh, it does? Oh, better than what it was at the start or better than it was the second I turned it on? Okay, that's good. Yeah, with Busio, like, again, he's good in that spot, but when you look at the US and, like, let's say potentially the Copa America coming up for Busio to, be able to start, he has to be so good that he's able to justify his inclusion, and, like, he just is coming off a pretty mixed year in the 2nd tier of Italy. Like, he definitely needs to have a good season with his club this season, but, like, I like his talent, and he's just the guy who I kind of root for. Like, I think I said this in a video, like, I like the guy, but I like him in the way that I like Ethan Ampadu, where it's like, "Oh, yeah, dude, I'm rooting for that guy," but it's like, should Chelsea start him? I don't know. What's the number one priority you'd fix about soccer in America? Jeez. Yeah, he's Busio's definitely not a starter. But number one thing that is kind of a tough call. I think it's hard to say right now because, like, the easy answer is to say, like, the academy and player development, but, I think that that's already been improved. It's just going to take a lot of time for it to really set in. I think, like, looking at the youth ranks, especially well, it's hard to say right now for sure, but there's a lot of things to be excited about in the 2008 group. And then you got the dude, Kavon Sullivan with the Philadelphia Union, who looks like he could potentially be world class. So I feel like the academy is pretty good. I think what I'd want to fix, if I had to pick something, is just accessibility to the sport, especially at a young age. Like I told you, I do some coaching right now, and like I think like there is a fee for like to sign up for that, and that's just not available for some people. There aren't too many fields available. Um, then in terms of getting into the sport, I mean, a lot of our games are just behind a paywall right now. Like we had that amazing win against Mexico the other day, not the other day, earlier or last month. Jeez, summer's gone by way too fast. And like a lot of people just weren't able to see that because just behind a paywall. So I think, lowering the getting making the sport more accessible, I think, to everybody. Okay, and there's this one guy I'm scouting right now. Yeah, he looks like he's pretty good. If anybody you can scroll up for the game, I think. If anybody needs me to post it again, I could. But, yeah, that dude looks good. Again, if you missed that, I'm not saying anybody's names right now because if the player that I'm looking at ends up sucking, I don't wanna just be like, "Oh, man, this guy's terrible." I don't wanna put anybody on blast. Especially because these are, like, just players who might not even have a future in the sport, and I don't want somebody on the internet just bad mouthing a guy, so I don't know. See. Yeah, relegation. Yeah, financial stability isn't great. I mean, like, it's honestly the thing is it's not perfect in England. I mean, like, how many clubs have just suffered terrible financial collapses in recent memory? Like, Luton just got back to the Premier League, Barry had something Barry collapsed, who was another team? Didn't Bolton have a bunch of issues recently? I think Derby did, they say Portsmouth already. I think Portsmouth had a really bad one. So, like, I mean, a lot of teams aren't financially ready, but I don't think it's their teams are ever really going to be financially ready. I think, I don't know, one kind of concern I would have I think you have to do like, with relegation, you have to do something, like, involving regions, like, because you don't wanna have it so that you have, like, no teams in California in MLS. So you'd probably have to do some type of, like, Western Conference thing. I don't know, it's something to think about. Like, you well, to be fair, England has something like that with, Conference West, Spain has, like, regional things, so, like, I don't think it would ever be an issue. That's probably just a hypothetical, but something to think about. Yeah, I do like James Sands and Busio as players, but, like, we're kind of pretty good at midfield, like, what's the list? Get Should I call you Med? Med, I guess. Yep, Adams, Musa, McKinney, Luke De La Torre. Like that's just a really tough group to break into. Add Gio Reyna to that. Maybe Brendan Aronson. We'll have to see if he can bounce back this season. But like midfield is just such a good group for us that it's hard to break into. And I don't know. I guess James Sands, he's probably separated himself as a decent backup for Tyler Adams, but I don't know if we have to sub off Tyler Adams, I might feel more comfortable playing McKinney and Musa as dual aids. Um, Serge, and I hope I'm pronouncing Serge right. Like he seems really talented, but he's got to stay healthy. That's the main thing, and if he's able to do that, he has a lot of potential. I forgot to talk about somebody talked about Cade Cowell earlier. I forgot to mention him. Just yeah, like I think calling him the American Adama Traore is pretty good comparison. Really good physical athlete, but has some work to do, especially developing technically. His end product's actually not that bad. He just gotta, I think, get a bit better in combination play, and he could do that pretty easily. I think. Well, not easily, but it's possible. He's definitely a good prospect, and simply him as like kind of a destroyer you can bring on. I think what I've said before about him is his floor, like, the worst case scenario for Cade Cowell is he's Jordan Morris, so, not that I want Jordan Morris in the team, but when he was in his prime, there was something that he provided before both of the knee injuries, and I think that Cowell will at least have, like, a spot, especially in, like, a tournament where, like, we've seen teams like, let's say, Spain not even have any traditional center backs while they're playing. I think Cal could be a pretty good player for us even as he is now, and if he's able to improve, he could be, like, really something special, but, yeah, technical ability needs to improve. And I've not been paying attention to this game as much as I should be when I'm watching right now. Yeah, I think you're right about that, he does need to improve on, like, composure and stuff like that, but well, it's not it's just the question is, will that get better as he gets older? I think it has to some extent, but it definitely needs to take another jump. Um, yeah, with Cal having a good amount of skill for fullback, like he does have decent attacking play, but keep in mind being a good attacking fullback and being a good attacking winger are like different things. So, like an example, I don't have my sign up Crystal Palace thing right there. Um, like Aaron Wan-Bissaka is somebody who transitioned to being from being a winger to a defensive player, and he was a really skilled winger, but the end product really wasn't there, and it never really developed. So, like, he can have the skill, but when you're a fullback, stuff like crossing or in honestly, in more modern game with some of the top teams, being able to invert and be able to go into the midfield, that's pretty important for fullback. So it's going to be a tough transition, and I feel like he's had a couple of games there. I think San Jose has tried him out at wingback, and it hasn't been the best. So I think sticking with him as a winger right now seems to be the best idea, but it could be something worth giving a try. Yeah, Yedlin, like with Yedlin specifically, like I don't want to say this as too much of an insult because for him to get to the Premier League itself is like such a huge achievement for somebody who like he came from like Akron University, spent time in Seattle. Like for him to get to the heights that he did, like that's an amazing achievement. But he was really just a pace merchant his entire career, and like he never really developed beyond his potential, and that's kind of it. Yeah, he had a good spell for Newcastle. Was that right before Benitez got there, or was he really good with Benitez? No, it wouldn't have been right before because they got relegated right before Benitez. Oh, dude, I'm looking at just scored a goal. Yeah, that dude looks pretty good. Um, yeah, I think I'm thinking of someone like a different manager who he did well with because he had one like pretty good run with Newcastle. I forget who it was under. Oh, I think I missed it earlier. Tolkien looks like he's a pretty solid player. Definitely a good prospect. But you have to see how good he can be when he like starts to reach the next level. I think he's been pretty good defensively. He didn't look the best in the US, but I don't know that like that's a small sample size. Jedi Robinson had a really bad first game for the US. So I'm not too concerned about that. But he's definitely a good prospect, but I'm not sure if he's really ready for the senior team yet. I'm really not sure if he's ahead of Caleb Wiley in the depth chart for me personally, but he's definitely got a lot of skill. Oh yeah, Justin Chase back in Dallas now. He should. Did he ever? Did he ever find a position? Because he's got a decent amount of height. I've liked him whenever he played when he played center back, but I don't know. He hasn't played that in like any real senior games, so he's gonna have to find a position, I guess. Oh yeah, I think I saw something about that. Was it him or Sealy who wanted to go straight back to Europe? Because Sealy just came back from Malone as well. Right back in wing back. Yeah, that's where he's been playing. Like, it's For the US senior team, he's definitely a far ways away, but, I think he already played a couple of senior games for FC Dallas. I think staying there wouldn't be the end of the world. Would definitely be better than going back to Hoffenheim and playing in, like, the U19 Bundesliga for another few years. Yeah. Yeah, he was good for well, I mean, like, relatively good for, like, a young player, but I thought he did pretty well in a couple games. Yeah, I think with Che, he's got everything that you need to become a good senior player. Like, he's got the athleticism, he's got pretty good on-ball ability. Um, I think you could get a bit more physical, like, but, not great. Oh, good night. Don't know, how do you want me to address you? XL or XL? That sounds kind of wrong. XL Ra? Yeah, good night. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this live bit more. Thanks for coming. I'm surprised like this many people are here watching this. So that's good to see. Just me watching random players hopefully impress me. Yeah, good night. Hey, thanks. Been putting a lot of effort into the ones recently. Um just going to more general soccer stuff like yeah, Parodies has been pretty good. Also, am I pronouncing his name right? Like Parodies? I think that's how you say it. I'm never really been sure, and, like, it's German announcers a lot of the time, so it's hard to really gauge it from watching those games, but he I think he looks pretty good, and I don't know, with Zendejas not looking too hot, for being a left-footed winger, I think he could probably be in the US, like, pretty soon. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I didn't talk about AFC Wimbledon producing a lot of goalkeepers because I thought it would be getting a ton of views, just something that, I don't know, I thought was pretty cool because something interesting. Parodies? 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 Is that sorry. Um, Parades, yeah, sorry. Ugh. Sorry. That got me, Venom, sorry. Alright. God, I've not paid as much attention to this game that I should. I'm gonna go back a while, but oh, for scouting, what I'm doing right now is I'm it's a I talked about this a little bit earlier. This is a video that I do kind of once a year where I talk about the best players who are going into college and like again, not that that's like the best path for players, but we get a decent amount of players coming to a national team from the college ranks. So I like wanted to talk about it because nobody really covers it from a US perspective. So for this game, I have the link of it. If you scroll up in chat, I could do it if you need to. But it, I am looking at a U17 game right now. Um, Ideally, it would be like an MLS Next Pro game or a USL game, but okay, that's good. You see it. I'm doing U17 for this because it's somewhat the level of competition. This is Orlando that I'm looking at right now, and they I haven't been able to find a game from more recent where I can recognize which player is which. Like you can find some games, but the quality just really isn't good. This is one where I can actually see the numbers and um be able to talk about. And yes, kids that are going into college, kind of like a I don't know, like a 247 rivals type thing. Like yeah, the top prospects who are going like I'm not doing scouting for colleges or anything. It'd be something that could be kind of cool, but like this is just something for the US community. I don't know. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Malik Tillman is just a really exciting player. I should have mentioned him when I was listing off midfielders a little bit earlier. Just especially what he can do arriving in the final third, like that's really honestly a little bit special. Yeah, it's kind of weird to think about like a few years ago that midfield would be the position where we're kind of good. Gone are the days of who was in midfield then, like, you know, an old Michael Bradley and like he's, you know, has a spot in history for the US, but he went a little bit too long. And just go from that to like Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, West McKinney, Gio Reyna. It's just such a strength for the team. Yeah, he's definitely got like huge potential. And I try to look up transfers like all at once. I haven't done it yet, or just kind of waiting for things to fly by. What's the deal with his situation? Because I know he's on loan at Rangers. I thought it was a loan to buy. Is he going back to Bayern? Like I assume he's not going to start if he goes to like he's obviously not going to start if he goes to Bayern or anything. Like, what's the is like there any rumors on the next step of his career? Because Rangers isn't the long term thing. Bayern, I mean, ideally it would work out, but he's got Jamal Musiala in front of him. That's going to be tough. Um, yeah, center back does need to get a little bit better, but I don't know. I've got a ton of faith in Chris Richards. He just needs regular playing time. Like, I mean, I love having him at Crystal Palace. Like, it's really good. He's a really good backup, but that was not the best move for him. And yeah, Mark McKenzie, he's finally been getting consistent playing time. So I think he should get back to the team. Him and well, he's injured right now, but Cameron Carter Vickers would be really nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely don't have the depth at center back that we do at midfield for sure. Um, I'm a big fan of Cameron Carter Vickers. Then Austin Trusty's been doing somewhat well recently. Yeah, Aronson going to Union Berlin. And just as a Philadelphia Union fan, it's so nice that I'm talking about just general US soccer and Aronson, Trusty, McKenzie are just all coming up. Okay, so so he's still at Rangers. That could be decent for him if they're able to have a decent run in Europe this year, but I don't know, Scotland's not the ideal place for a young prospect to be. Yeah, Aronson to Union Berlin. I mean, he was doing pretty well in Austria. I was actually a little bit surprised he went straight to the Premier League instead of staying, staying or going to Germany. Maybe like he was at RB Salzburg, RB Leipzig would have been the natural progression you'd assume. Would have been again would have been tough for him to get into that team, but I think going back to Germany is definitely going to be good for him. Berlin is in they're in the Champions League this season, so it's going to be pretty good. Yeah, Tillman could move to the Bundesliga. You have to assume the Premier League would be a pretty good option for him. A lot of guys move from the Premier League or from Scotland to the Premier League, just familiarity a little bit. Oh, so he is staying with Bayern? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it might be, but Scotland's a pretty physical league as well. Could be able to make that transition. I don't know. It's hard to really say until it happens. Honestly, first he'd have to get a Premier League team interested in him, and he's that's actually a really tough task to do. Yeah, good night. I've got a night classes coming up this fall, so I'm like actively trying to get myself used to staying up later. Yeah, it makes sense for you to want to go to bed. Yeah, good night. It's pretty late. And it's a business with like I've got to focus in sports, but it's kind of business related. Okay, and gonna got a laptop on the side. I'm gonna be taking notes on this player I'm scout. I've actually started paying attention a bit. This guy looks pretty good. Speed, hold up play. I don't think Dest got a move yet. I mean, he will, just where. I think he's also been linked to Union Berlin, but nothing official as of yet. Yeah, Dest is definitely better with his attacking play more than his defensive. But I feel like if he was going to be made a winger, he kind of would have stuck there. I think his future is kind of in the role where something like what Trent Alexander Arnold's been doing somewhat recently, where he's kind of lined up as a fullback, but he's more going into the midfield. I think I made a whole video on that. Like, I think that he's probably going to stay at least in terms of like when you go over a lineup in a right back position, but I could see his role kind of changing. And a lot of teams recently have been using more inverted fullbacks, using fullbacks to help in their build up. And I think Dest could actually be pretty good in that role. And I'm hoping he goes to a team that can kind of like allow him to shine in that spot, like how Arsenal have been using Zinchenko. I mentioned Trent Alexander Arnold. Man City used Cancelo in that spot pretty well. I think like a system like that would be beneficial to Dest. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you didn't really miss much. I'm just scouting players and talking about stuff. Not talking as much as I should be, but trying to focus a little bit on the scouting part of it. If you're wondering the game that I'm looking at, think you can scroll up in the chat. You should be able to find it. And yeah, I'm not really going to be going like naming the players that I'm talking about because, like, if I wanted to say, "Oh, this guy's not doing well," like, there's no reason for me to put somebody on blast. On the scouting side of things, I'm looking at 2 players, midfielders hasn't really done too much, but I'm really liking the striker. He was somebody I was taking note of before going into the game, and yeah, his hold-up play's been pretty strong, shown a good amount of athleticism, and, in this, like, list I'm making for, this is top players going into college, I think that he's probably one of the top strikers I have gone over so far, maybe the top striker. Yeah, so far from the academy side of things, definitely. Or well, there's one exception actually. A guy from New Mexico United, Alex Wagner. He's been playing a good amount for them. He just scored a game-winning goal. He's somebody who I think is a really good prospect. I'm definitely going to be talking about him. He's looks like he could be really good. I think. But in terms of players coming out of, like, MLS academies and going to college, which is a pretty specific set of circumstances, I think this guy is looking like one of the best ones I've seen so far. If you hear that, I'm just skipping ahead because, right now just falls out of play. Wanna get through that as fast as possible. Positive part about seeing this stuff on YouTube instead of live. Um, there's one against Germany coming up somewhat soon, right? Think that's October. Because Germany's just scheduling friendlies right now because 'cause they're not doing any Euro qualification because 'cause they're hosting it. But with how Germany's looked recently, I'm not sure if you'd even classify that as meaningful. Oh, my striker scored a goal, yeah. Okay, since, it's only been positive things about him, I think you can say who it is, I have to get his name right. Ethan Subachan from Orlando, this dude looks pretty good. He's definitely gonna be somebody I'm talking about. I'm hoping Germany will be able to turn things around because 'cause they've just been, I mean, the talent's there, they just haven't been able to put results through. They just don't have a striker, which is weird for Germany. Center backs haven't been great. They really haven't had many good fullbacks in, like, a while, at least more traditional. I mean, other than Philip Lahm, they're because Kimmich is more in the midfield. They were playing Hector was probably more of a midfielder when they were playing him at left back. They're playing, Just guys out of position mostly. Yeah, it's crazy. US technically rated higher than Germany. I mean, FIFA rankings don't mean anything, but honestly, it's kinda deserved. Germany have just been bad for, like, what, since 2016? They've been underperforming. They had a bad Nations League too, I think, not just the major tournaments. Still don't know why this random game uploaded by somebody who's probably uploaded it illegally is getting ads. Oh, yeah. But, I don't know, it's just losing to Panama, it's bad, but, I don't know, that I don't really place any value in the Gold Cup, at least with what it's become. It's probably the equivalent of NBA Summer League. except we're a team that doesn't have any great prospects. Oh man, I've been doing this for an hour. Yeah, I'm probably gonna call it a night in like 2 minutes. Been doing this for a while. It's been somewhat productive. Got to see one pretty good player. Haven't been focused as much as I usually am, though, so I might go back and rewatch this game that I'm watching. But it's been fun. A lot more people tuned in than I expected it to, and yes, I think it's definitely productive. I don't think I can really put a schedule on when I'll be doing this again, but something I definitely like to try some more. Might be able to do it tomorrow night, but I don't know. I'll have to see. Yeah, I can't really promise anything consistent with this right now, but yeah, it was definitely fun to do. Let me try this again. Again, thanks for talking. And yeah, see you again later. See ya.